And we are live. Theme song, cue theme song.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one. You got a question for RLM? Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby.
Oh, now we get real.
Time to get down. Yeah, you gonna feel good now. Really good.
Time to get real. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Reality Spirituality with your host, happiness specialist, inner peace practitioner, oracle, student, Reiki practitioner, but most importantly, mother and student. I said student already. Welcome to the show. Happiness specialist. Who the hell does she think she is? No such thing. You can't be happy all the time. Well, let me be very, very clear. Self-proclaimed happiness specialist. And when I say happy, I'm not talking about something happens and now you're happy. I'm talking about how to maintain and sustain a personal energy, a personal vibration of contentment, how to maintain and sustain a personal vibration, a personal energy of peace, regardless of what happens. And it is a practice. Happiness is a practice skill. Inner peace is a practice skill. That vibration of contentment is a practice skill. And all I do and all I've been doing for the last 45 years and the last 50, no, the last 45 years and the last 15 years online is sharing how and what to practice. When I say happiness is a practice skill, it always comes back to the truth about how committed and how important and how much do you value, my dear listener, my dear audience, how much do you value this thing called happiness? And again, it's an energy that I'm talking about. And I have a gift for you right off the bat, right off the bat. The answer to all of your problems, the answer to all of your challenges, the answer to all of the peace, all of the peace that you're seeking for the rest of your life. You ready? Here's the solution. That's right. That's how powerful you are. All of the solutions, all of the answers are found right here. But how many people are rushing to the mirror to say, "Oh, it must be me. It's not them. It's me." And that is really the truth. And so let me share with you just a little bit, just a little background. When I say I'm a happiness specialist. When I was younger, you remember blowing out the candles on your birthday cake and making a wish. I always wished for the same two things. I wanted to live to my potential and I wanted to be happy. And so this happiness that I was looking for, seeking, researching, had nothing to do with anything, any achievement, had nothing to do with finding a purpose, had nothing to do, because quite frankly, Michael Jackson, Prince, do I need to go on, Robin Williams, they all found their purpose. So it has nothing to do with anything external. What I am sharing and what I am focusing on is this internal internal, this inner work, this inner practice. And what are you rooted in? Are you rooted in, just like a tree, Are you rooted in? Do you value? Are you committed to? Do you prioritize contentment more than anything else? I'm not saying you can't take action. I'm not saying you can't achieve all these external goals, but what are you rooted in? And so the what I discovered, what I found is that one of the main reasons, I'm not going to say the only reason, but one of the main reasons of all of this unhappiness, of all of this misery, of all of this angst, of all of this anger, of all of this drama that is displayed in the world is a result of being programmed. What? That's right. Programmed. In fact, thank you for asking. In fact, my latest book, Programmed for Unhappiness. It's on Amazon. In this book, I list 56 program behaviors that subtract. I'm actually up to 58, but 56 program behaviors that subtract from a person's happiness. And I also list 26 behaviors that you can practice that will add to your happiness. But it still comes back to, when I say happiness, forget the word. I'm talking about a vibration and energy that is maintained and sustained. It's plugged in and there's no unplugging ever, ever. But the programming is the culprit. And let me just share, when I say 56 program behaviors, let me get to the first page. Happiness, inner peace are all practice skills. And like any other skills, the more you commit to the practice, the better the results. So the question to ask yourself is, are you ready to prioritize the vibration, the energy of happiness, peace, contentment, satisfaction over anything else? Are you, my dear listener, my dear audience, are you ready to value or even put a value on contentment? And a lot of it, the world doesn't. I remember talking to you can Google him. His name is JT Fox, and he's a motivational speaker all over the world, all over the globe. And he was here. He gave a free seminar. This was last year in September. And I asked him, and I said, how do you monetize? How do you monetize what the majority of people do not value until it's too late? And he told me, he says, find something else to monetize, find something else to sell, find something else. I said, no, this is it. When I say practice, this is a practice. It is a practice eliminating all of the programming one by one. And before I go on with that, I just want to share, I usually share this at the beginning of each show. There is a study, it's called The 5 Most Common Regrets of the Dying. The 5 most common regrets of the dying. And so these people had days to live, weeks to live, months to live. And they were asked, what are your 5 biggest regrets? And so these 5 regrets kept coming they kept showing up over and over. And so this hospice nurse, Bronnie Ware, Bronnie, Bronnie Ware, wrote a book about it. And 5 most common regrets of the dying. Number 1, I wish I would have pursued my dreams and aspirations and not the life others expected of me. Number 2, I wish I didn't work so hard. Number 3, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings and speak my mind. Number 4, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. I always say that, listen, sometimes we outgrow people. Nothing wrong with them, nothing wrong with you. It's just people are just in my life for a season, for a reason, and just for a season. And number 5, I wish I would have let myself be happier. And my favorite quote from Abraham is, Abraham Hicks, is you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. It is about the journey. It is about every moment. It is about recognizing when the ego, when the mind, when this identity, when this Rebecca wants to kidnap kidnap me. When I say kidnap, to identify with the mind and the thoughts and the stories and all of that stuff in between. And I'm here to tell you that that's not who I am. That's not who you are. We are presence. We are God having a human experience. Isn't it time to enjoy the ride? And so with all of that, the practice becomes, again, looking in the mirror, and the practice over a long period of time. I'm not the same person I was last week. And in fact, the challenges, the growth opportunities, the challenges, the hurdles, the bumping into the walls, all of this experience is there to take me and you to another level of consciousness, another level of understanding, another level of opportunity to grow. Today's topic, well, let me just go back to the program behaviors. When I say only you, my dear reader, audience, can determine or make that decision whether commitment, whether happiness, whether contentment is number one. I mean, number one over relationships, over health, over money, over children, over everything. My contentment is number one. And in fact, I know this is a story, but in fact, when this entity, pointing to myself, is able to vibrate contentment and able to display peace, that's when that's what I believe is that's how I can serve the world at the highest level. At the highest level. I know highest level, but yeah, your vibration is your energy, your vibration is your contribution to this planet. Your vibration, your energy is your gift to the planet. And my practice is to vibrate an energy of peace as often as possible. And even if, so I go to an analogy of the ocean, and on the surface of the ocean, the waves are, always moving. Sometimes there's a storm, sometimes there's a tsunami, sometimes there's a lot of turmoil on the surface. But at the bottom of the ocean, there's nothing but peace. And so the practice is to live where that peace is found, where that peace is always there. It's okay, the surface of the ocean, a little tossed and turned, a little drama. Yes, of course. But the practice is to live down below. Today's topic is what's wrong. And I've covered this topic more than once. And when I ask people, whether it's a student or whether it's anybody that's interested in this topic, and when I say student, I've been teaching the Truth About Happiness classes for over 15 years in California, in Roseburg, Oregon, and now in Nevada. And there's a pattern. There is a definite pattern that cannot be denied. And that pattern is, number one, it's a difficult, the Truth About Happiness sounds like a great class, sounds like it's fun, sounds like it's uplifting. And it's not, it's not that it's not uplifting, but when you when you practice looking in the mirror, it's not an easy practice. It's not a comfortable practice. It's not something that, oh yay, let's see what I look like in the mirror today. It's not none of that. It's a practice that forces each individual to go deeper and deeper and ask those questions, the questions that are uncomfortable even asking. But getting back to what's wrong, the topic of today. When I ask anyone what's wrong with the world, and I've said this a million times on the show, what's wrong in the world? What's wrong with the world? The hands go up. But what is not realized that the reflection, your reflection and your response and your answer to what's wrong in the world is a direct reflection of what's going on inside of you. So unless the answer is everything is in order, everything is in divine order, there's nothing wrong, everything is part of a plan that is so intricate I can't even fathom, this little pea brain can't even fathom, can't even comprehend the vast planning. Unless the answer is everything is in order. And again, listen, being a happiness specialist, I get a lot of disgruntled, I get a lot of mean emails and hate emails. And I mean, it's really to be attacked. It's interesting. It won't be the first time. I mean, I've been attacked by the best, the best of the best. But backing up to the point, whatever you perceive is wrong with this world or wrong in the moment, I don't care, global, national, even smaller, not realizing or not trusting or not believing that it is unfolding, that everything, all of these experiences are unfolding for a reason, for a purpose. That takes practicing trust. That takes practicing letting go of thinking that I know. That takes practicing being okay and being at peace with uncertainty, because whatever you think is wrong with the world, that is a reflection on what's going on inside of you. And I'll give you an example. This just happened this morning. I was at the gym, and let me just make it a little bit more general. And one of the members, and I talked to mostly everybody at the gym, and this gentleman was. This was a couple months ago. So this gentleman made a comment about someone that is a global figure, and this gentleman said, they're racist. They're racist. Now, mind you, never met the person, but is going by what whatever the commentary. They're racist. And today, it's so interesting because whatever you label anyone else, I don't care if it's racist, I don't care if it's narcissist, arrogant, mm, mm, uh, pushy, inconsiderate, you name it, whatever you label someone else, oh, this hurts, that you're talking about yourself. So this person, this was a couple months ago, labeled this global figure or a racist. And I don't, listen, I'm not going to argue or even debate anything anymore. You can be right about whatever you think. I wasn't always like that, but now that peace is more important, that's right. You can be right. You can be right about all of it. Anyone can be right about all of it. I may throw something in once, but I'm not debating. I'm not trying to convince you of being right. But anyway, and today it was so interesting. Today, the television was on, and it was the Masters tournament. And I asked, and this person plays golf every day as much as possible, just loves golf. And so I just assumed, I said, "Oh, you're watching the Masters?" And they said, "No, no, I don't watch golf." I said, "Oh, you don't watch golf?" No, no, don't watch golf. And he said, he said, "I would watch golf if Tiger Woods was playing. I would watch hockey if there were more diverse, I'm being very kind here. If there were more diverse people, races playing hockey. I would watch this sport if there were more, in other words, more people that he related to. You know what I'm talking about. I'm dancing around it, but you get it. I don't know why I'm dancing. And this guy 2 months ago who labeled someone else racist, I'm thinking, you don't watch a sport because a certain person of color isn't in the sport. I never thought, this is just me. Of course, we're all as different as our fingerprints, but I never thought of not watching a sport because a certain race wasn't in it. I just never thought about it. Anyway, I don't even know how I got onto that topic, but I did. What else? Oh, it's all about pointing the finger out. And when you point the finger out and when you point at someone else and you are able to label, I don't care what it is, it always comes back. And so what the program people do, which is 98% of the population, no offense, what program people do is, and it is an epidemic. It is an epidemic, is blaming, I call it the blame game, is blaming external forces, blaming something outside of self for your for feelings, for emotions, for focus. I call it the blame game people play. The truth is, it's not your circumstances. It's not the relationship you do or you do not have. It's not who won the election or the price of gas or the weather. It's not your health or the aches and pains in life. It's definitely not money. It's not how you look or how much you weigh. It's not your children. It's not your parents. Your happiness, your inner peace, your contentment depends on what you practice on a daily basis. Want to feel different during any challenge, any challenging moment? You can look in the mirror and choose a different perspective. And that's another practice, being able to come up with a different perspective, other than I'm right, one perspective, this is it. You know that you are stuck, limited, uh, 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 and I mean limited, when the perspective is just one and you're not able to come up with more than one perspective. This is one perspective about what I've experienced. This is one perspective and it's right. And I'm here to tell you, be open, scratch that. Practice being open to more than one perspective. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just and experience without judgment. And the programming is to always judge. This is good. This is bad. The practice is look in the mirror, choose a different perspective, elevate your consciousness, grow, be different than who you were last week, last month, last year. Your growth, your chosen perspective, and your level of consciousness will dictate how much peace and happiness you're going to feel in any moment. Let me get back to what happened this week. I shared with you that I teach the Truth About Happiness classes in Nevada. And so this last week, I had 4 guests that had never been in the class, wouldn't even have signed up for the class, except for just how the stars align. I had a couple of family members there, and I also had a guest from out of town. And so it was just circumstances. They were visiting Las Vegas, and I invited her to the class, and she brought a guest. Well, I think it was in the beginning of class. I really don't remember. Maybe it was 15 minutes in the class. And the lesson was, or the talk was about worrying and worrying about your children. And this woman that attended the class had a young daughter, and she was saying that she was worried and she was concerned about the safety of her daughter. Her daughter had experienced bullying, and her daughter experienced a lot of behavior at school that she was a mom. She was a mama bear, and she didn't want her daughter to experience any of it. And so she was active, I guess, going back and forth to the school. This is the bottom line. This very protective mom, what I said was, the topic was, I said, worrying doesn't mean that you care. That's a program. Worrying does not mean that you care about somebody. Worrying just means that you know how to worry, or you were programmed to worry. But we all know that worrying doesn't do any good. Now, again, you can take action, but without that energy of worry. Bottom line is, this woman, after I pressed it and said, your worry isn't assisting the daughter, your worrying isn't helping anything. I mean, your action, but the worry behind it. Children can feel your energy, and that energy and that behavior of worrying does not bring any peace to a child or an adult. And I challenge you, my dear audience, to ask this question. When someone says that they're worried about you, does that feel good? Does that feel light? Does that feel like you're cared for? Unless that program of they're worried, they care. Worrying does not mean that you care. I know. I've been stabbed in the front and the back. This mother that insisted on her worrying was good got up and left the class and took her guest with her, which was really interesting. I'm leaving, and you got to go too. And it was the first time they both met. So I'm leaving, and you got to go too. My point is this: after she left, the interesting thing was, now I'm addressing my class, the class, the Truth About Happiness and what I share and what I teach. Her leaving was not personal, number one. Number two, uh, her leaving, her attending the class, the reason for her attending the class was for her to leave before the class was over. That's taking awareness and trust to another level. Her leaving the class, it was all a setup. Listen, I believe the universe has all this shit. It is a setup. And her leaving the class was the reason why she attended the class. No more, no less. Oh, she got upset with you. What was it? I was called insensitive. I've been called so many names. Insensitive. What's the other one? Yeah, lack of compassion, all of it. No, none of that was the truth. The truth is the universe wanted not only the class, not only me, the mom that walked out and her guest wanted to experience that walking out. Isn't it simple? It is simple. When trust, when, and I mean blind trust, when I practice and you practice living in the present moment and surrendering to it all without an attachment to a story, a reason, a why, a because she had expectations, because she couldn't come up with another perspective, because you triggered her, because all of that. How about her purpose on that day was to attend the class for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and to walk out and leave? When I ask the question, what's wrong? The answer is always nothing. I know. Oh, you live in the sand. There's a lot. Look out in the world. There's a lot of horrible things, evil things going on. I get it. And what I believe and what I trust is that God, the universe, wants to experience all of it. Can I comprehend it? Is my mind able to embrace that, accept that? Wants to experience everything? How could you want to experience being tortured? And that brings me all the way back to, I attended a Abraham Hicks seminar. This was, wow, California. So it had to be at least 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, 15 to 20 years ago. And I remember Esther, as Abraham said, and I'll never forget it, said that some animals reincarnate just to experience getting eaten. Some animals reincarnate just to experience getting eaten. Mind blown. What is enlightenment? My perspective is enlightenment is knowing, trusting the truth about this journey, which is this quick. And the practice is to start enjoying all of it. All of it. And the stories, the human stories, the pointing out to the world, and even, I'm going to throw this out. Even I know that in the United States, we're add a new thing to, trying to be healthier again, make America healthier again. And one of the things that Bobby Kennedy Jr. is implementing or discussing is taking fluoride out of the water, all of these extra preservatives out of the food, the dyes out of the food, all of the things. So here this is just as an example. But prior to all of that, I know this is a hard one. It hurts. It pains me sometimes to say these things. I know this is a hard one. But having all of those poisons in the food and all of the health issues that come and came with the poison in the food. This is a hard one. Had a purpose too. Everything has a purpose. Out in nature, everything, there's a purpose. There's a purpose. And so the belief and the practice is to trust that, relax, and start having a little fun and start enjoying the journey, especially when you're able to abandon and let go of the stories and the thoughts. You're not your thoughts, you're not your stories. There are no accidents. There are no mistakes. There are no, this shouldn't have happened. Everything is in order. One of the things that I want to implement, and this is another reason why I'm not on a lot of platforms that all they do is talk. Now, I'm good with talking. Listen, I've been talking for 37 minutes. I'm good with talking, but what is the solution? So some people, some program people are into talking and sharing, but I want to know if you are into doing something to change. I want to know if change is important to you. Everybody can talk, but are you talking so you can find another behavior? Is change important? Or are you just talking just to talk? Or maybe you don't want to change right now, but there is a big difference between people that just talk it and people that want something different. And it's a very small minority. I want to share something that happened yesterday, and it was on my son and our show yesterday. My son and I do a show every Saturday, live show on YouTube. It's called Mother and Son Making Sense Out of Nonsense, plus more. And this was episode 69, and something about that episode, I could feel it before we even went live. But on that episode, and we're going to talk about it again next week, which is every Saturday at 9:15 Pacific time. Yesterday, I had an agenda, meaning when I say I'm talking about Rebecca. Rebecca had an agenda with her son. Rebecca had a teaching moment. And anytime I have an agenda, even if it's noble, it's a noble agenda. It's coming from my heart. I just want him to be better and find more peace. All of that is a program, and all of that is just a precursor to drama and the opposite of peace. So I wrote down all of the things. Let's see. I wrote down all of the things that I was aware of. Number one, I had an agenda. Number two, I was in my son's business without an invitation. Number three, I only was able to come up with one perspective. I couldn't come up with another perspective. Number four, I wasn't practicing trust. Number five, I knew I was right. And number six, I identified with this human, Rebecca, AKA mom. And that boy could feel it. We both felt each other. And you know, when you're in the middle of a storm, especially when you're storming together, there was a little tussle, a little back and forth, energetic tussle. And the results of all of and here we go. Remember, I said it's the mirror, it's not the sun, it's the mirror. It was me. And all of the results, because I wrote down the results of all that tussling. Number one, it was a perfect lesson. Number two, I had more insight. Number three, there is an opportunity to practice more observing the ego, the mind, the Rebecca. There's more trust, more love for self, more acceptance of self, more grace for self, more peace. We call our moments of struggle, energetic struggle, Penske moments. That's a long story, because when I moved to Oregon, my son and I were in this Penske truck, 26 feet, and Lord have mercy, woo! The fireworks were 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 flying left and right. That was a 2-day journey, and we're stuck in a Penske truck. But anyway, a new Penske memory. Everything is in order. And number 10, this experience made our relationship better, deeper, richer, closer, stronger. There are no accidents. There are no mistakes. There are no do-overs. Everything is in order. There is nothing wrong. I'm not saying not to go out there in the world and do what you got to do, but with that mindset, with that energy of peace, with that energy of I trust, and then practice living by inspiration, inspired action. And that's the end of today's show. That's the end of today's show. Thank you for listening. Reality Spirituality Radio is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, live on YouTube. And now Mother and Son Making Sense Out of Nonsense plus more every Saturday morning at 9:15 Pacific Standard Time. My website is RebeccaNorrington.com. Follow me on Twitter at RL Norrington. My LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn. My Instagram handle is Reality Spirituality. My YouTube channel, like and subscribe. And my first book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, is on Amazon. That was published in 2014. And my latest book, my masterpiece, which went international bestseller and Amazon bestseller, Program for Unhappiness, Exposing the Untold Truth, is on Amazon. And in this book, I list 56 program behaviors that subtract from your happiness. Until next week, my dear audience, I want you to remember who you are. You are a physical extension of the universe, God, your conscious energy, which is always evolving, always changing, always growing. Love is patient and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself by accepting everything. You in the mirror, accepting the experience. in every moment, surrendering to the moment, vibrating a sense of satisfaction. Be your own best friend. Remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. It is about the journey. And you've been listening to Reality Spirituality Radio with yours truly, happiness specialist Rebecca L. Norrington. Remember, happiness, inner peace, contentment, all practice skills. And I promise you, the more you practice, the more peace you'll find, and your experience in every moment reflects on what you practice. Have a conscious week. Let me cue up my theme song. Cue up the theme song. Now put in my password.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one, man. You got a question for RLM? It's time to get some answers, baby. How we get real. Time to get down. You gonna feel good now. But I'm telling you,